I've spent hundreds of nights sleeping in the outdoors. From minimal ultralight sleep systems to more comfy setups, I tend to always get a pretty good sleep. These are the tips that I use to ensure I get a good night's sleep when I'm in the backcountry. Earplugs. Now these were a game changer for me, especially when I was hiking the South Island of Te Araroa. On a hike like that, I was often sleeping in the same huts as other people, or my tent was pitched in close proximity to others. Some people, when they sleep, have a tendency to sound like a bit of a chainsaw. And when you're hiking day after day after day, getting a good night's sleep can be crucial to ensure you hit your target mileage. That's where earplugs come in. I just pop those tiny orange foam things in my ears and I'm good to go. They help to block out a lot of noise, whether that's other people sleeping or wind and rain battering my shelter. They barely weigh anything and take up absolutely no space, so it's definitely worth having a pair in your pack. They might just be the thing to save your hike. For a lot of people, being cold when they're out camping is a big reason why they don't get good sleep. Now your sleeping mat isn't just designed to be comfy, it's also designed to keep you warm. If you look at any quality sleeping mat, they should have a number listed which states the thermal resistance of the pad. And it's basically how well your mat will insulate you from the ground. Now the number R value you'll need will vary person to person, but a good general guideline is if you're using your mat only for summer hiking, then you can get away with an R value of 2 or less. R values between 2 and 4 can be great for most 3-season hiking, and anywhere between 4 and 5.5 can be great for cold weather conditions. If you're going to be heading into really extreme cold temperatures, then you're going to want to look at an R value that's a bit higher, somewhere around 5.5 or up. So if you find yourself getting cold when you're trying to sleep on the trail, take a look at the R value of your sleeping mat. Now talking about being cold when you're trying to sleep outdoors, your sleeping bag is obviously going to play a big role in keeping you warm. Sleeping bags basically work by trapping warm air inside the bag. Similar to the R value of a sleeping mat, sleeping bags come with different ratings which give you an indication of the sort of temperatures they can be used in. Now if your sleeping bag is from a quality brand, it should have an ISO rating. Now this international standardized rating is used so that you can get an idea of how warm your sleeping bag should be regardless of what brand you're getting it from. Now you'll typically find your sleeping bag is broken into 3 ratings: the comfort, the limit, and the extreme rating. The comfort rating is the temperature that an average woman can sleep comfortably wearing just their base layers. The limit rating is the lowest temperature at which an average man can sleep comfortably in just their base layers. And the extreme rating is the lowest temperature at which a person can use their sleeping bag for a short period of time. It's not going to be comfortable, but it's the rating at which you'll probably survive. If you're looking at the ratings on your bag, definitely don't look at the extreme rating as what you think you can take your bag down to. Now these ratings are based on averages, and it will vary person to person, but it can be a good general guideline when you're looking at a sleeping bag. With experience, you'll get to know what temperatures you can use your sleeping bag at, and you can use that to inform your gear choices further on down the line. A pillow. Now this one was a bit of a game changer for me. I used to just stuff my clothes into a dry bag or pile them up into a ball, and although that was better than nothing, I never really felt like I could sleep that well. Once I tried an inflatable pillow, I've never looked back. I even pack one in my ultralight kit where I'm looking to save as much weight as possible. Now there's lots of different camp pillows out there, from inflatable to nice squishy foam ones. Personally, I really like the Cedar Summit Aeros Premium pillow. It's not a cheap pillow, but for me, it makes such a big difference to my sleep, I'm not willing to compromise on it. If you don't want to fork out a bunch of money for something you're not even sure you need when you're out hiking, then just pick up a cheap inflatable pillow and see if you like it. You might find you want to upgrade to a more premium one at some point, but it can be a good starting point to see if it's going to improve your sleep. Now, I personally love the confines of a sleeping bag. Being able to zip myself right into this nice down cocoon is a feeling that I really love when I'm sleeping outdoors. But that's a feeling not everyone enjoys. Some people are restless when they sleep and like to be able to move around and not feel confined. If you find that the snugness of your sleeping bag is affecting your sleep in the outdoors, then a quilt might be the option you're looking for. A quilt is basically a down blanket that doesn't wrap right around you. Some of them have closed foot boxes, and some of them have the option to open them right up. You can also strap them around your mat, which can help to eliminate cold drafts when you're using them. Personally, I haven't tried a quilt yet. I like my sleeping bag too much to give it up, but it could be a great option if you like to spread out when you sleep. Now, I personally think that this skill is a little bit overlooked and not something people consider when they're trying to get a good night's sleep in the outdoors, and that's campsite selection. If you're smart about where you choose your campsite, it can make a big difference to how you spend your night outdoors. Pitching your tent on top of that ridgeline with stunning views Might seem like a great idea, but you're probably going to be a lot more exposed to the elements. You'll find it's going to be colder, and if the wind picks up, it's going to batter your tent or shelter a lot more, which might result in you not sleeping nearly as well. Now, I'm not saying every campsite I choose is perfect. Sometimes I do like to pitch on top of that ridgeline so I get those nice views. But when I do that, I understand the pros and cons of the location, and I take that into account when I'm thinking about my sleep. There's lots of factors that go into campsite selection, but the type of terrain you're on and the angle of your campsite can also play a big part in your sleep. If you pick a spot that's lumpy or not quite flat, you might find yourself slipping and sliding as you're trying to sleep. Rocky or very hard-packed terrain can also make a difference to how comfortable you are. And you're also going to want to look out to make sure water isn't going to pool around your tent if it starts raining. One of the things I hate the most when I'm trying to sleep in the outdoors is having to crawl out of my nice warm sleep system to go pee in the middle of the night. Not only does trying to hold pee in make you less warm overall, but it can also wake you up from what would have been a nice, warm, comfy sleep. To minimize the chance of this happening, I try to stop drinking liquids about an hour before I want to go to bed and try to go toilet multiple times before I'm ready to get in my tent. If I've been hanging out inside my shelter reading or something before I'm going to bed, then I'll make the effort to crawl out of my sleeping bag there and then to go toilet so that I don't have to do it in the middle of the night. Now, if you find that you're a cold sleeper, you might want to get inside your bag with all your layers on. This might not always be the best idea. If you go to sleep with all your layers on, you might not realize it, but you might start sweating. That sweat is then going to cool you down and make you even colder. If you know that your sleep system should be able to handle the temperatures you're sleeping in, then try go to sleep with just your base layers on. If you get cold in the night, you can always put extra layers on. Similar to this, don't breathe inside your sleeping bag. If it's really cold outside, it might be really tempting to burrow right into your bag and cover your whole face. This can be a bad idea as you'll end up breathing into your bag, which can create condensation and moisture and cool you down even more. Go to bed warm. If you're crawling into your sleeping bag already chilly after sitting around camp for a while, then that might very well reduce the quality of your sleep. Sleeping bags work by trapping warm air. And if you're already cold, then there's not really any warm air for it to trap. So before you crawl into your sleep system, do a few star jumps or run around a little bit to get the blood flowing and warm up a little bit. You don't want to be breaking into a sweat, but getting warmed up and then crawling into your sleeping bag can make a big difference to how you sleep. This one might seem like a minor tip, but carry a pair of socks dedicated for just sleeping in. One of my favorite things when I get to camp is taking off my dirty, smelly hiking socks and putting on my nice, comfy pair of sleeping socks. For me, this makes a big difference to my sleep. So if you find yourself getting quite cold when you're sleeping, a hot water bottle can make a big difference to how you enjoy your night. Although it's not particularly ultralight, carrying something like a Nalgene can be a great option as you can pour hot water into them, bundle them up with some clothes, and throw them in your bag. This can help to generate quite a bit of heat, which can warm you up and make it easier for you to drift off to sleep. So those are all the tips I've got for getting a better night's sleep when you're in the outdoors. If you have any other tips that you find helpful, I'd love to hear them down below. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.